Hey everyone, this is Player One, and I'm coming to you with my Xbox 360 collection. Some people had commented they were interested in seeing one of my collections, so I figured out the easiest one to just take out right away and do would be the 360 collection. So let's get right to it. First off, I'm the nerd. I have them all organized in ABC order. So yes, every time I get a new game, I change it and I'll go through it and all that. So here we go. Here's the first. The first one's Akai Kitana. If I haven't played through this too much, I played a little bit just to try it out when I first got it, and it's complete, which is nice. And this is kind of like a shoot 'em up game, so it'd be cool to check out. Alright, next is gonna be Alan Wake, and I actually have the special edition, which came in like a book, but this is just the disc, like box, and you can see it. And this game is actually very cool. I really enjoyed it when it came out. It's a shame a lot of things happened with the actual developers, and they kind of went out of business and all that. But the game is actually very cool, and I really liked it back when I played it. And you're gonna see I haven't played all these games, but I played many of them, and hopefully I can give you some insight. Next one is Alone in the Dark. Now this is a weird one. I've been wanting to play this one. I keep playing it for maybe a couple hours, and then another game comes up, and I never get to beat it. But I'm definitely gonna go back and beat it. It's on my long backlog of games, but from what I've played, I like it. It's a little weird, the combat, it's not great, but the story was sort of intriguing, and it's kind of a remake, separate game is my understanding, compared to the old Alone in the Dark. So it's okay, it's not great, but it's interesting, and it did come with a soundtrack. Alright, next, Alpha Protocol, the espionage RPG. I have not played this one really at all. I've heard it's pretty good, just haven't gotten around to it. You'll see that a lot of my games have the GameStop sticker. As much as I don't really like GameStop and their business, the buy two get one frees did offer me an easy way to get a lot of these games cheap. So that's where you'll see a lot of those stickers on it, which one day I have to go through and see if I can remove all those. That's definitely something I'm going to do at some point. This one, The Amazing Spider-Man, is still in the wrapping, so I haven't even opened that one. And that one I got, as you can see, if you recognize the sticker from the Black Friday in Walmart, and that may have happened, that Black Friday sale, maybe 2 or 3 years ago when they had it for I think $8, something like that. So I just picked it up. I like the originals, not the original Spider-Man game, but a lot of the old Spider-Man games were actually pretty good, so I picked it up, figured one day it might be cool to try. The next two games, I'll put them together, are going to be Army of Two. Here's part 1, Army of Two, and then this is Army of Two 40th Day. This is one of those games I haven't played part 2 at all. I have played some of part 1 and I liked it, but it definitely felt like a game you needed co-op. And at that time I forgot what I was playing and I haven't gotten into it. I've been trying to convince player 2 to come over and for us to do split screen on it, so maybe we'll do that soon. The next group of games you see here are the Assassin's Creed series. So I have to confess, as you see, I pretty much own all the ones on the 360, I think. But I've actually haven't played through them all. I'm almost done with part 1, and then I stepped away from it. I forgot what game I got into when I was playing it, and I haven't gone back to them. So I've heard the first trilogy is good, and now they have it on PS4, which actually, from what I've heard, it was kind of shitty, the remake. But regardless of that, I'm going to play through at least these, because I've heard most of these are pretty good. But I just, like I said, I haven't gotten around to them. And you'll see that, again, here's a GameStop sticker. This is that GameStop box for Assassin's Creed 2. But for the most part, they're games I have to get through. The next game is Asura's Wrath. So this game is actually very interesting. I have not played it, but I'm pretty familiar with it because I've been interested in it a while and I bought it and I never got around to it. But the cool thing is, it's kind of like an action Devil May Cry-ish type game is my understanding. But it also has cool like quick time events and big boss battles, and it has a cool unique style. You have a bunch of arms and stuff, so that's one I definitely want to check out at some point. The next group of games you see here are the Batman games I own on the 360. So you have the Arkham Asylum, the Arkham City, Arkham Origins, the Lego Part 1, and Beyond Gotham. I think it's Part 3. Yeah, Lego 3. You can see that's another one I got with the Walmart sticker a couple years ago. Now, I've played through these two, I loved them. They were great games. I started this one and I kind of got discouraged when I didn't hear the voices of the original actors, and I just haven't gone back to it. However, I will say this has been one of my favorite collector's editions. I own the collector's edition that comes with the cool Joker. Like he's standing in front of a bunch of TVs, and it's like a cool little statue. It's not little, it's actually pretty big. But the game itself really didn't interest me too much. Maybe at some point I'll go back. This one is actually one of those two parts, or two games. One has Pure, but I have it in B's because I have it for Batman. That makes sense. So the next group of games are the Battlefield, and I have Battlefield Bad Company, Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 3 on the 360. These two games are pretty cool. I haven't played a lot through this one. I really enjoyed the multiplayer in the Bad Company Battlefields back in the day when I was playing them. I've actually gone back to try to beat this again and maybe do a review for you guys, which, by the way, if you see any game you're interested in seeing a review of, and by review I'm talking about the more detailed reviews that we have, the video game reviews, please let me know. Feel free, and it gives me advice and it pushes me to play a game and maybe get it out of my backlog, so let me know if you guys are interested. This one I haven't played at all, really. I just played a little bit just to get a feel for it, but I haven't done more than that. Alright, so here are two kind of oddball games. Everybody knows Bayonetta. I have it on the Wii also, but I got this one first years ago. It's a great action game. If you like over-the-top action, kind of God of War, DMC, things like that, you're gonna love it. Apart from she's a hottie, obviously, it's actually a lot of cool animations, great artistic style. I love it. Cool game. This was back when this company, which, what was the name of it? I forgot the name of the developers that do this, but they're the same ones that did the Ninja Turtle game and the Transformers game recently that haven't been all that great. But they do very cool fighting games, and Bayonetta was kind of their hit, 1 and 2. Here's Binary Domain, and this is actually still in the wrapping, as you can see. I haven't opened it. That's kind of an interesting futuristic third-person shooter when they were all coming out. All these third-person shooters are kind of copying off of Gears of War. But it still looks like a cool game. Again, it's one of those games I'd be interested to get into eventually. Alright, let's see what we got next. So, I'll put these three together. The Bioshocks. So, we have Bioshock 1, and I got the Platinum hits. I know some of you may not like that. Bioshock 2, and Bioshock Infinite. The crazy thing is, this one I think many of you have seen already. We had it in a pickup video, where it still had the receipt that somebody paid full price for it. And I actually got it in a thrift store. I think it may have even been Goodwill, I don't remember. But I've played through Bioshock 1. I didn't do a review of it. No reason to at this point because so many people have it. Unless you really want to, let me know. But I can tell you it's just an incredible game. It's actually a weird situation for me. When I first bought this game, I bought it in the buy to get one free. I played through maybe 10-15 minutes and I wasn't too interested. I came back much later and I played through it and I absolutely loved it. The twist at the end and how everything happened, it was just such a great shooter. This is really a great game. I didn't feel the same way about Bioshock 2. It was cool, it was nice to go back and experience this again, but I was a little disappointed with just kind of where it went. It didn't really take the game anywhere. As far as Infinite, I actually haven't played through Infinite, so that's something I'm looking forward to. And I own that on the PC, so I might play the PC version because it looks a little bit nicer. And for those of you that don't know, they have it now, like the Bioshock Collection on the PS4. Alright, so let's put these two together. Here's Blazing Angels 1 and 2. Part 1 is Squadron of World War II, and then Secret Missions of World War II. Don't know much about these games. I got them both pretty cheap at thrift stores. But the point is, they're there. I'm sure they're aerial fighting, dogfighting type games, and you can see that. So, just some stuff to have, and at some point I'd like to play. I have this fantasy that I'll be able to get through my backlog one day. Not sure that's ever going to be the case, but I'll try. Alright, one game that kind of stands out by itself, 007 Bloodstone, and this is from the newer 007 guy. If you checked out some of the movies, which they started pretty good, but I think they kind of dipped in quality very quickly. I haven't played through this, but I think this actually covers the first 2 movies, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, next. It's maybe a little bit out of order, I'm not sure. But here's Borderlands 1 and 2. Now this was the Game of the Year edition. I bought this way back when. Buy it to get one free, but I bought it, I think that was the price I paid actually back then. And this has all the DLC. I actually played through all the DLCs in this one, completely finished it. Borderlands 2 I started, and I've gotten, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 hours into it, and I stopped for some reason. I got into some other game. And now that I have the Handsome Jack collection on the PS4, I kind of wanted to wait. Oh, I remember now. I got it, and shortly, maybe a year, I got out of it, and I was going to go back to it. And I heard about the Handsome Jack collection, and I knew it was going to be cheap at some point. So I decided to not play it anymore and wait for the Handsome Jack collection, which now I have on the PS4. So that's that. Let's see. So this next game, the Bourne Conspiracy, it's part of the Bourne movies. If you guys have seen the ones that have Matt Damon, and the books also, obviously. It's basically through a story. I'm not sure if it's a side story. I think it's the main game, the main movie, like the movie, the game of the movie. I played through a little bit of it. It was interesting. Again, a game I like to come back to at some point. It had a lot of real-time events where you had to press the correct button to get out of it and survive it, the combat, which was kind of annoying to me. QuickTime events, that's what I'm talking about. I had a lot of QuickTime events, so that was a little bit annoying. So I think that's one of the things that turned me off. But at some point, maybe I'll review it since it's not that common. Here's Blue Dragon. I'm sure many of you have heard of that game. I actually have not played it yet, so I can't say much about it. Like most people, they recognize the Dragon Ball Z. That's what got me interested in the game, but I never quite played through it. And actually, one that's a little bit out of order. Here's a pre-sequel, and this one I haven't played at all. But again, I have the Handsome Jack collection, so that's when I'll get to that one. Let's see what else I have. So here's a Bulletstorm, Epic Edition, whatever. I think that was Cliffy B's venture beyond Gears of War, and my understanding is it was more or less a failure. The game doesn't look all that great. It's just kind of another typical shooter, and during this time, I think during this generation, the FPSs really took over. So this is just another one of those probably bargain bin type games that you can get cheap and maybe play through if you want. That's Bulletstorm. Here's a weird one. Bullet Witch. And you can see good old Blockbuster, those of us that remember. Bullet Witch. That's kind of a weird one. You know, I actually played through it and I almost got to the end and I stopped playing for some other game. There seems to be a common theme. And then all of a sudden I wanted to go back and I forgot all the controls. And so I was like, screw this shit. But I wanted to go back and I have it on I do like a list of games that I want to get to eventually, like maybe in the next 6 months or whatever. And it's on there because it's not a great game, but there's something about it that's really interesting. I kind of like the concept of like this witch who instead of a broom she has this big badass sword and she just kind of fights these zombies and demons. So it's kind of cool. That one I think would be worth doing a review of because I don't think many people have a review on YouTube, so I might look into that. Alright, here are 2 racing games. Burnout Revenge, which is probably one of my all-time favorite racing games ever. And Burnout Paradise. I'm currently playing this actually. I'm trying to finish all the levels and get gold on everything. So I'm currently playing through this. I haven't played through this a lot. I've heard that a lot of people didn't like that it was like open world and it just wasn't as smooth or whatever. I'm not sure. But this one, highly recommended. I love this game. And again, I don't 100% complete many games. I do sometimes. But this is what I'm trying to do just because I enjoy the racing so much. If that makes sense. Alright. Now here are some that you probably... I'll put them all together. Many of you are going to recognize. See how many Call of Duties I have. Oop, I just hit the camera. Alright, so here are the Call of Duties that I own. You'll see I have Call of Duty 2, 3, World at War, Call of Duty Black Ops, and Black Ops 2 I think this is, yeah. So, if you've played one Call of Duty, you've kind of played them all. That's not necessarily true. but they're very similar. I think this generation of Call of Duty was much better than the generation we're living now. But I'll say this, and this sucks. These two games, I actually owned these before, but in the middle of moving and all kind of garbage, I lost them. So I picked them up in the buy two get one free at Best Buy actually, but they came with these shitty cases, which is kind of a shame. The World at War, I actually really liked it, and that's what introduced me to the zombies, which for me was absolutely awesome, especially back then. I would spend hours and hours getting to like level 30, level 40 and surviving. Then the Black Ops 1 and 2, which I thought were great games. You know, back then, again, I really liked Black Ops 2, the multiplayer, because they had those cool matches where you would have weird scenarios, like every time you killed somebody a different gun would come out, or every time, you know, you made money, or the kill confirmed, stuff like that. I think that's when some of that stuff appeared, at least for me where I was playing it, and I really enjoyed playing a lot of multiplayer on this. In fact, this is one of those games that every once in a while I'll go back and play a little bit of multiplayer on, because I like those different modes. Alright, so this is the next group of games. As you can see, there's no real order to this as far as why I put these together. As I'm going through it, I'm saying just so the video's not too long. So instead of doing one at a time, maybe do them in groups. So I have Castlevania Lords of Shadow, and I actually have part 2 on the PS3. Civil War and Nation Divided, and this game I got at Goodwill, as you can see. I know nothing about it. I think I might play it just out of curiosity. I have Command & Conquer Red Alert 3, Condemned, Crackdown 2, and Crysis 2. And owning Crysis 2 on a 360 kind of defeats the purpose, because Crysis series, it's one of those game series that really weren't that great story-wise or anything, but they looked great. They were really PC pushers, and they just were great looking games. So on the 360 it kind of defeats the purpose, but I got it, so there you go. Let me take this out of the way. Alright, so the next group of games, we have the Cursed Crusade, Dante's Inferno, Dark Messiah, Might and Magic Elements, Dark Souls, Dark Star 1, Broken Alliance, can't read, and Darkest of Days. So I haven't played most of these actually. Haven't played this one. I played a lot of Dante's Inferno and almost got to the end. But again, another game came up and I forgot the actual controls, so I said screw it, I'll start it over, and I haven't gotten around to it. Same thing happens to Dark Messiah. This game caught my interest because it's an old first-person kind of adventure RPG-ish type game. It's very interesting, the story, and again I was playing it, another game got in the way. I think it was Mass Effect got in the way or something like that, and I haven't come back to it because I just feel like I have to start it over. But that game is another one that just piqued my interest and I enjoyed playing through it. It feels like an old game. It's dated, but it's interesting. Dark Souls doesn't need much introduction. What a bitch of a game, man. That game is tough. Darkstar 1, Broken Alliance, I actually haven't played through that. And then Darkest of Days, I've played a little bit, but I haven't gotten far. And this one's kind of cool because you're kind of like a time agent and you go through missions. And the whole thing is there's just some cool places where you go, and while you're in the mission in the past, there's certain villains or people as you're fighting, like you'll fight in a war, in a civil war, that you can't kill because they're important to the timeline. So there's cool stuff like that. That's a cool kind of like time game, if that makes sense. Alright, the next group of games, we have Dark Void, Darkness, Darkness 2, Darksiders, Darksiders 2, and Dark Sector. So, I don't know much about Dark Void. I can say at Darkness, I loved that game when I played it. I absolutely loved it. I had an issue though. Literally, I think the last level, I got into some kind of glitch and I got stuck and I just couldn't beat the level anymore. I was like stuck in a glitch. So I had to start all over again just to see the ending, which is kind of a bummer. But I haven't played Darkness 2 because of it, because I haven't seen the ending of Darkness. Darksiders and Darksiders 2, two games I've been dying to get to and I just haven't. I think they just released a remake of this recently, so that's something, if you're interested, you can see the better version on the PS4. And Dark Sector, I think it's kind of a hidden gem. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. I think it was a great game. It was kind of like a third-person survival horror, but not really, because you have these powers and this glaive kind of thing that you use to throw powers and fight these kind of monsters and mutations. So I actually really like that game, and that might be another one worth doing a review because not many people talk about it. Alright, the next group of games are Dead or Alive 4, Dead or Alive 5, Deadpool, Dead Rising, Dead Space, Dead Space 2, and Dead Space 3. So Dead Rising is one of those games I picked up new. I bought it new back in the day when it came out, and I really enjoyed it for a while. One thing that really kind of pissed me off, or just annoyed me to the point that I never came back to it too much, is just one big escort mission. I wish they would have had a better story than just that. It was cool to find out what was going on behind the scenes and what the story was, but it was just escort mission after escort mission. That's one of the things that just kind of turned me off. The Dead or Alive 4 and 5 I actually haven't played at all. Deadpool is another game that I've been wanting to get to and I haven't played it. And and this is the hard thing about owning so many games and being a collector. You buy a game like Deadpool. I bought it in a buy to get one free situation, and then shortly after I bought it, I found out that they were doing a remake on the PS4. But I already got it, so it's one of those things where you have to battle. Do I bother getting the remake? Do I not? This is one of those issues that I think for this one I'm just going to play through a 360 one. Here are Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. They don't need much introduction. Believe it or not, Dead Space, I just beat it this year. So I want you to think about that. But I'm going to make a video of all the games I beat this year with like kind of a little mini review and just talking about showing you how many games I've beaten, what kind of dents I made in my backlog. But Dead Space, I just beat it. And you guys are going to make fun of me, but the reason for that is because I've been a wimp. I played through it. I've started the game at least 5 times, and every time I was just too freaked out and I was like, nah, I don't want to deal with this right now. I'll come back to it. But I came back to it and I said, no, this time around I'm going to beat it. And I freaking loved it. This game is badass. Even today, 2016, it's so smooth. It looks great on the 360, which, mind you, is not a real HD console. On the 360, it looks great. It felt great. It didn't feel dated. Today was a great game. Absolutely blew my mind. I haven't played part 2 or part 3 yet, which now I'm more inclined. I'm not so freaked out about it that I won't play it, but I just have to get to it. What I've learned, by the way, and this is another, if we're talking about backlog, some advice: don't play a franchise back to back, because I've made that mistake before where I'll play like something like Dead Space. I'll play 1, 2, and 3. By the time I get to the third one, I just don't want to play it anymore. It's just overload. I would suggest if you beat a game like I did, like I beat Dead Space, wait a little bit. If it's very good, then go ahead and feel free to come back to it maybe a month later. But play at least 1 or 2 more games before you get around to your next sequel. That's just my suggestion, because for me, I've been burnt out. That happened to me with the Uncharted series, and I guess I can talk about that when I do the collection. So I had to kind of wait and come back, and then I enjoyed it more. So that's just my advice to you. But yeah, those are those games. Alright, so for the next group we have Dead Rights Retribution, Deadly Premonition, Death Smiles, Deus Ex, or yeah, that's how you say it, I think, Deus Ex, Human Evolution, Devil May Cry HD Collection, Devil May Cry 4, and DMC. So Dead 2 Rights, I know it's a great game because that's what I've heard, but I actually haven't played it. Deadly Premonition is kind of a weird, kooky, Silent Hill-ish kind of survival horror and freaky type game that I've been interested in because it's interesting. If I can sum up the courage to play it. Death Smile is kind of like a side-scroller shoot 'em up. It's actually pretty tough, but it kind of has a cool art style, and it'd be fun to get through if I ever do. Deus Ex Human Revolution, I actually just beat it this year, and there's a review if you want to check out the review for that on my channel. There's a review of Deus Ex Human Revolution. The Devil May Cry series, I've owned it but since back in the PS2. I actually played 1 and 2 back then, and 2 turned me off. If I remember correctly, I didn't love it back then. I never played through part 3. So at some point I have it on my to-do list, if that makes sense, to go back and play through all these, play through the first 2 again, and then play part 3. 4, obviously I haven't touched because I haven't played part 3. And DMC. So this is another one that kind of got me similar to the Deadpool. I bought this game a while ago, but I never got around to it. I just played a little bit. I liked it. It looked smooth. I liked it. It was kind of interesting, the story. How it was modern times and well, I won't spoil it, but it was interesting. But I just didn't play it. And now I bought the PS4 HD version. So just because. It's just one of those things that happen. Again, the little first world problems of being a collector, right? Alright. Alright, the next group we have Dishonored, Divinity 2, Doom 3, Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, and Dragon Ball Z Raging Blast. So let me talk about these real quick. First, Dishonored. You guys saw we have an unboxing of Dishonored 2, which we just released this year. I think less than a month ago or so, or about a month ago or something like that. That one was pretty good. I think it was a very interesting game. It piqued my interest. I'm gonna actually play through the HD version of the original Dishonored on the PS4 because it came as a code in the Dishonored 2. Divinity I haven't played. I don't really know much about it. It's another RPG. Doom 3 I did play through back in the day, and that's one of those games, boy. When you play through that game, first of all, you play it for hours because it's a great shooter. But when you play through that game, after being done, I literally walked around and I could swear something was going to jump at me. I was always ready for something to jump out because it's just that type of game. It gets to you. But that was a great game. Then Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. So I played Dragon Age 2 first, which I thought would be a bad thing until you realize that it should have nothing to do with part 1. It didn't have anything to do with part 1, really. It was just a side story. However, I'll say that part 2 was actually a good game as a standalone game. But it's that BS that they've been playing for some time, which at this point has turned me off after the Dragon Age Inquisition, where the story really, it's just like a story within the universe. It has nothing to do with actual anything useful in the canon or anything like that. So part 2 I recommend it. I really liked the story. It was an enclosed story within a city, and it's like a political intrigue more than anything else. But just keep in mind it's a standalone kind of small adventure that's interesting. Part 1 though, part 1 blew my mind, and this one I actually got everything. Even though it has this cover, I have the Awakenings DLC because I think they sell it with the Game of the Year or whatever. And I love this game. This was like one of those games where I first picked it up and I was, I don't know, it's a little too old for me to play through because the combat was a little weird. You just have, it's like automatic and everything. But man, I love the game. The story was so good. I was hooked right at once things picked up, not even 30 minutes in. It got me real excited. So this is the Dragon Age, and I think, to be fair, they did one and done. This game was the one that really pushed that BioWare RPG, and then they just one and done. This one didn't really live up to it because didn't have the same scale, and Dragon Age Inquisition, in my opinion, was just shit. It had great gameplay, but the story was weak. Bad guy was never present. So much I can say about it. I think that was an overrated game. I'd love to hear what you guys think, by the way. Feel free to let me know in the comments. Dragon Ball Raging Blast. So I've been dying to play these games because I remember playing the old Dragon Ball Z games on the PS2. That's kind of where I started those games. But man, I just suck, or I don't know what, because I'm pretty good at Mortal Kombat. But the Dragon Ball, that's a bitch for me. I'm just not great at it. So maybe one day I'll get good at it, but I got discouraged. I actually tried playing a little bit of it this year over the summer, and man, it was just tough. It's getting my butt whooped. So I kind of got a bit discouraged from that. Now the last group I'm going to show you today is this group. And this, alright. So this is the last group for this video. We have Dragon's Dogma, Driver San Francisco, Duke Nukem Forever, Dynasty Warriors Gundam, and Dynasty Warriors Gundam 2. So let me talk about these real quick. I haven't played much of Dragon's Dogma. I hear it's an okay RPG. Driver San Francisco, it's kind of an action, you race and shoot kind of thing. I don't really know much about it. Duke Nukem Forever is another one of those games that people waited a decade or maybe a little bit more than a decade for it to come out. When it came out, it was a bit of a letdown. There's no other way to say it other than that. But it's still kind of a cool arena shooter. If you can get it for cheap, it's funny to hear the one-liners, but it's just not that great of a game, if that makes sense. It's a good game. It's just kind of fun to get through. The two Gundam games, Dynasty Warriors. The Dynasty Warriors license has been smart lately. They've been spreading, and this is like Musu Warriors or whatever they call it. They've been spreading to different licenses. These are the Gundams, and they were cool. I don't like the gameplay. I've only played a little bit of part 1, and again, maybe I suck at these games, but it felt kind of tough for me. So I didn't love the gameplay, but I want to get through them just because I like Gundams. Or I should say this: I never liked the anime too much, because I think I saw Gundam Wing growing up, and I was just bored. Player 2 keeps making me trying to see another Gundam series, see if I like it, which I will. But I do love the concept of the mech robots. Who doesn't love badass mechs fighting each other? So that's made me want to get in and do that. But there you have it. So that's my collection from letters A through D. The next video I'll do maybe E, F, G, and H. We'll see how many games that comes through. But please let me know if this is actually interesting. I don't know sometimes if people are interested in this kind of thing. I know one of you said, I forgot your name, but I'll make sure to put it in a caption so you can see it. One of you suggested I do this, so I just want to do it for you. Apart from that, let me know if you enjoyed this, if you have any opinions, any suggestions, or if there's a game you want to review, anything at all. Feel free to let me know. Otherwise, if you like the video, like I always say, like it. If you don't like it, put dislike so I know what's up and I know maybe how to improve for next time. And feel free to talk to me. I'll always be there commenting back as much as I can. Alright, so again, this is Player 1 signing out.